to the Going for Two live show on the Going for Two live network. Today we're breaking down the second part of the 32 team Twitter Invitational IDP Tight End Premium League. This league is awesome. We broke down part one last week. This week we have two guests. We have Dante at Pay Their Profile. How you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Trying to recover from these UFC fights yesterday. Got the Gatorade, the water, and the coffee next to me. So doing pretty good. How about you?
Well, you live in San Diego. You can go get one of those fancy ass, greasy ass burritos down there. I know go down there. You got good food. And then we got Tyler, the at Tyler underscore FF underscore. This guy. First off, I'm a fan, man, of your work. You know that. I go to your Twitter. I follow your threads. I digest that like a Bible, man. And I'm from Utah, so sorry for the Mormon stuff, But Tyler FF, need no introduction, man. How you doing?
Hey, doing good. Appreciate all that, and glad to be here. I'm doing good.
Okay, man. Yeah, man. Let's break it down. Let's go ahead and just hit the intro, and we'll start the show.
Going for two, kickers are extra, I give them the boot. Ooh, going for two, sit back, relax while I grab me a brew. Ooh, now I'm reclining while putting my time and I'm ready to go. My spine is aligning and much my lineups, my bank account grow. I am so rich, but knowledge is all that I'm leaving it with. Ooh, listen to this, multiple options, how far can I get? Ooh, DFS Dynasty redraft tonight, I'm not finishing last. I'm finishing past any and all, I am looking to last. What else? This spot is popping and I am so locked in and only opening the door when it is opportunity knocking. And all of these spots keep on talking and talking. So what are we talking? What kind of alignment? And running it deep, even players forgotten or came from the bottom or hitting that top end. And this spot is popping, yeah, this spot is popping. And woo, this is the armchair, yeah. Put up your arms, yeah. Sound the alarm, yeah. Woo.
All right, let's jump into this, baby. 1 through 16, man. This Sweet 16, as I like to call it, baby. Oh, man, those final four teams, though. Fire.
Nice.
Fire. All right, let's go ahead and jump into it. I can tell you guys, 32-team league, one move can make your team jump. And Dante made a move last week. He was kind of hinting it. I hope a trade gets accepted, this and this. I already knew what the trade was going to be like. I was too skeptical, but it didn't get accepted, but it did happen. Dante got, I believe, George Pickens from Giovanni, the guy that I said just love making trades, being active always. Dante, you want to break down a little bit because it jumped you in the top 12. So
yeah, we kind of talked about it before. We have a very strong top four, so I kind of went really heavy with a rebuild, but keeping in mind like getting young talent that was going to be viable in the first year or so. And so I traded away Devin Lloyd, who is IDP number one, Velus Jones, who I'm a fan of as far as fantasy concerned. Like it's not a points per age league, so. I thought it was a decent dart throw as well as a second round pick to get George Pickens and kind of round out my starting lineup. I think, me moving into the top 10, I think was more so a product of the Fantasy Pros saying like, hey, he sent a bunch of guys that were on his bench because I have a lot of depth, for a guy who's going to be starting. So I'm happy with it. I know my team's definitely not going to be a legitimate competitor, but it's definitely cool to see. Definitely better to be on the second show than the first show.
I don't know about legitimate competitor. You better calm down, man. I think it can be, man. Like, don't underestimate your team. Like, I tell you, man, like these rookies nowadays, if we get Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson stuff nowadays, like shit, we don't know what you have when you have a rebuild. I saw a rebuild the other day where this guy had. It was actually my brother. I was like, how the hell did you get all these players? Next thing I know, he had Jefferson, Chase, Najee, Higgins. He accumulated draft picks for 2 drafts in a row, and it hit. That's all you need. And if you really want to hit on those rookies, just follow Tyler, man. He hits on all of them. He's 100% proof. 100%. But Tyler, I think you're on mute. But let's go ahead and break down Team 1. Let me get it.
Let's do it.
So we left off at what's his name? Call Me Dragon. Call Me Dragon. Okay, so this guy right here, he doesn't even have a damn name, I guess. What's his name? You guys know? I thought it. Call Me Dragon. Doesn't have a name. That's crazy.
I think I just
knew him before.
And he doesn't get on the chat too much, but when he does, it's just to make a trade or make a move. So he has a pretty decent team. I'm gonna make this a little bigger. So he had David Montgomery, Dave Jones, Amari Cooper, Mike Gesicki, Devontae Parker, AJ Green, Derek Carr, Hubbard, Campbell, Poyer, Baker, Davenport, Milano, Davis, Jamal Williams. Man, how many times y'all get that confused? Jamison Williams, Jamal Williams. Like, I swear, one of these days I'm going to press the accept button by mistake. DeAndre Hopkins, Treadwell, Bate, Littleton, Bowser, Hyde. Hey, man, at least he got his picks, too. I mean, yeah, it's a competitive team to me, but the only thing is, it's a competitive team going on the downhill for me. A lot of these players are going to lose value within this year, I believe. This roster is old, so he might as well either start rebuilding, because he's that middle of the pack. I never want to be in the middle of the pack. Either I'm rebuilding, or I'm going all into the top. But what do you guys think? Let's go, Dante. What do you think, man?
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a little bit older roster. The real hard part is that, I mean, we'll see later. The top 4 teams are teams with strength and youth. So if you go in, all in, you might fail and then have a team that's much older with, fewer draft picks while those guys are outlasting you the next 2 to 3 years. So you definitely has some assets to make a decision one way or another. It's just going to be very interesting to see, longevity wise, what's the best move for this year might not be the best move for future seasons, but definitely in a good spot.
Okay. Tyler, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, competitive for sure, but it is definitely going to be middle, like Dante said, the top of this. And while this is a competitive team, you're going to win more games. You're not going to be legitimate, and I think you need to get out on some DeAndre Hopkins, AJ can for him, and I don't think that Hopkins, right now he might still be somewhat premium for him, but he's like he's not getting younger. And the best wide receivers this year, we're going to get the thing every year. This is the year the wheels fall off. So and you don't young assets. I think to go off. I think it's better to just
I agree with you. Since he had draft asset, I think he could go all in, but it all depends. Like, I wouldn't trade my first if I was him. There ain't no way you're gonna get valuable players, without having those first. I would trade those second, those third. I'd try to make moves to upgrade my roster, for the future, because I mean, your team's old, bud, but you're competitive. You got a quarterback, you got a tight end, you got a running back. I mean, your wide receivers are weak beside Amari Cooper, but really, you're in the middle. Probably making the playoff, but looking outside probably. Sometimes it depends on who jumps you. Okay, let's jump to the next team real quick. The San Diego Chargers. Apparently, they're not the Los Angeles Chargers in this league. But it's okay. What's his name? Ron Burgundy would be very proud. But let's find his team, AFC West.
San Diego superior anyway.
Oh, wait. And
that Baby Juice?
Is it Baby Juice? Is that his team?
Yeah, he's a Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay, now I see. So, like, because I'm bigger screen, I couldn't freaking see their name. Okay, San Diego. Yeah, Baby Juice. Baby Juice actually took over another owner, I believe, right? We had an owner bounce. And that owner actually went in, like, tried to win it, I believe, last year. But this guy, Baby Juice, he's pretty active. He makes moves that are, I like to call interesting. I mean, he had Justin Jefferson on his team, and he traded away to another team. It was a big trade too. It wasn't like a little small trade. It was, I believe, let's see right here. He traded Jefferson for Jalen Hurts, 3 first-round picks, and then traded away Tua and Justin Jefferson. So in hindsight, looking back at that, he probably could have gotten that just for Jefferson, you know? I mean, adding Tua was helpful for the other team, which was my team. I'm not trying to brag here, but whatever, you know. But, I mean, I love Jalen Hurts. I'm a big Jalen Hurts believer. And when he went 6 for 6 on that preseason game, boy, I was licking my chops, man. I was like, damn, man, I'm right, man. Top 5 quarterback, baby. Let's go. But he has Kareem Hunt, Mike Evans, Godwin, Foster Moreau, Alexander Madison, big Wandale Robinson fan because he drafted him like top 12, I believe, right? So that was shocking to me, man. I was like, what? But I mean, there's one person in this league that's not gonna say what. It's definitely Jake because he loved Wandale. Were you gonna say something, Tyler?
Yeah, I was just looking. 111 he took. A little rich for my blood there.
Yeah, a little risky for my taste, man. Like I mean, I think George Pickens was still up there, right? I mean, there was a lot of wide receivers still up there. Jalen Hurts, Chandler, Chris Jones, White. Oh man, this guy, I swear, he got traded like 10 times in the offseason in this league. Kazir White, Terrell, Perryman, Forward, Hubbard. I can't say that word. I think it's Nguanu or whatever. I can't. Yeah, Smith Marset, Houston. Oh man, if this panned out, it'd be epic, right? Tyree Jackson. I love that guy. Anthony Barr. Anthony Barr going to Dallas. I was like surprised, man. But look at this, man. He got picked. He got 2024 picks. He got Jake. He got 2 2024 picks, first round. He got 3 second rounders in 2024. So it kind of made sense for the team because he's competitive. But in 2024, it's when he should start rebuilding, right? I mean, I like his team. Okay, so his name, Baby Juice, his real name is Jordan, I guess. Yeah, it says Baby Juice, real name is Jordan. Pretty sure Call Me Dragon is Angel. What's up, man? Good morning. So yeah, man, let's just it's just a competitive team for this year for sure. It all depends on the ceiling of Jalen Hurts, I believe. If he put that top 5 season together, and we don't know what's going on with Darren Waller, you know, maybe he is. I'm getting sick of this stuff, man, where teams say, oh, they are hurt, but they don't tell you what it is. Like, I'm looking at you, Christian Watson, that I have a lot of shares of. You know, like, if I would have known that, man, yeah, but yeah, what do you guys think about their team, Dante?
Yeah, no, I it's funny because there are definitely players within the league who you can tell based on their trade acumen, like how strong they are in fantasy. And he's definitely a strong fantasy player. It's been definitely a challenge trying to make deals that work for both teams, and it's been a welcome challenge. It's been fun. I think his ceiling's going to be tied to Hurts, like you mentioned, but I think it's going to be tied even more so to guys like Foster Moreau and Alexander Madison. Like in this league with a tight end premium, the top teams all have one, at least a solid contributor week to week. I mean, we can like Foster Moreau as much as we want, but like we're hoping for Waller to be injured or inactive to really have Foster Moreau have any viability or to catch a touchdown. Alexander Madison's probably not getting too much run. I know having O'Connell there might increase his week to week usage a little bit more than it was last year, but enough to be legitimately a contender. That's good. Those are going to be big time question marks, but the rest of his team is a very strong team. So if everybody else can play their parts and remain healthy, like I think he has an opportunity to compete. So we'll see with those two guys.
Yeah, and I believe he traded Foster Moreau for Gerald Everett. That was a trade that I was like, wow.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it, like to me, it's like moves like that. They just like it can really if it hit, it hit. But now we're looking at Gerald Everett. Like what 4 months later, he's the starting tight end. He's playing with Justin Herbert. I don't know about you, but I'd rather be the starting tight end playing with Justin Herbert than the backup tight end playing with. I love Derek Carr. I'm a Raiders fan, so I can't diss him. I love him.
I don't dislike that move though, because that was preemptive. That was during the time where there was a lot of discussion on trading Darren Waller, and that was hey, if I can get ahead of this, and I'm only giving up Everett in a second, and then you get a starting tight end out of it, and a guy who's played pretty well when he's had that role. I don't dislike that at all. Obviously, it could blow up in your face, kind of how it did, but that's a home run deal if Waller would have gotten traded.
Tyler, what do you think of that team?
So, I'm probably going to say the same thing for a lot of in the middle. I tear it down if I use here. It's a good. This is Mike Evans, Chris Godwin. Pieces. Hunt could be a second RB1, top end RB2 the past before, but it's not a complete team, and it doesn't have the depth tearing it down and trying to get something. You have a stock load of 2023 picks that you've accumulated in 2024 to do that. But this team does have some younger men for more stockpile picks, or even Chuba Hubbard and Kylan Hill are two guys probably get something that now with.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, I agree with all that. We're gonna Tyler, we're getting some technical difficulty on your end for audio. If you want to look and see if your connection is better, or if you want to come in and out, and then we'll see. Yeah, just we'll get that fixed though. This team is just there, man. Like it's right there, but it probably needs a couple more moves to move into that, contender. And the thing is, we didn't look at it like he has draft picks, so he can be a contender.
I would definitely take this year. I definitely try to contend this year, knowing that he doesn't have 2023 draft picks. I mean, obviously, if he was going to trade players for those picks, he doesn't own his own, 23 picks. So tearing it down and tanking kind of is limited upside for him. But like, yeah, if he tries this year and then, hey, it's not really working out, and he just continues to like stockpile 24 picks, like he could probably do that. I would trade back for my own pick. Anytime I'm going to tank, I'm going to trade back for my own pick first. But yeah, definitely has some options.
Yeah, man, I agree. Dynasty Keen is Jake. You guys should check him out. He has great stuff on all over the place, man. This guy is a hell of a guy and a great mind. Me and him talk all the time. And thanks for the weight loss. I mean, I tried very hard. I mean, this is pretty shocking, right? I'm just drinking water, not beer. I mean, usually any podcast I do, I'm down in beer, man. But now let's move on to the next team. We're going to try to pick up the pace a little bit because I don't want this show to run for 3 hours, guys. But this is my fault. I'm the host. I'm supposed to be doing this. So the Los Angeles Rams. Wow. Okay. Let's find Los Angeles Rams. JT Spread.
JT.
Looks like you've been talking to JT Spread, but trying to make
Yeah, man.
a trade here.
I'm
Dante,
trying to move up into the top 5. Trying to move into the top 5.
Yeah, well, when you come, you better come prepared, brother. So you have Joe Mixon, Brandon Ayuk, Mr. Trey Lance, wide receiver 1 maybe this year, Rashad Bateman, and that's who you're going after. I know that. Kyle Rudolph, Darrell Henderson, Osborne, Wilson, Byrne. Man, I tell you, kid you not, man. Every single time I play someone with Russell Wilson this year, I'm gonna message them. Let's ride. You know, come on, Uncle Nathan, let's ride. Burns, Anderson, Marlon Humphrey, Hendrickson, Morey, Rice, Clowney, Haskin, Goodwin, Aguilar, Hamler, Eskridge, Shakir, and basically a bunch of irrelevant players. Trajan Diggs. Damn, he has my pick, man. That hurts, man. That hurts. He has my pick. He has 2 first rounders, second and a third, and then he had. Oh wow! Look at that. He has Javon's pick in 2024. 2024 first, second, third. He has a lot of third. This guy can make a lot of moves if he plays his card right. He can upgrade his tight end position with draft pick. He can upgrade his second wide receiver with draft pick. He can upgrade his IDP. I think this guy's a contender. And if I know JT, he's a smart guy. He's gonna make moves. It's just a matter of time when and with who. What do you think, Dante?
Yeah, I think what we're gonna find a lot of these teams that are closer to 16, like right, the outside of the top 10 are gonna have a similar construction. I like his because like his tempo players are much younger than some of the others. So I would definitely continue to add young pieces to my roster. I would have no problem trading my picks because he does have a pretty good stable of young talent. I would obviously you would want to try to upgrade Rudolph. Darrell Henderson is right on the cusp of relevance as a flex. Same thing with KJ Osborne. Osborne could have a pretty solid year. I have very little issue with his IDPs. I mean, there's some upgrades that can be had there, but usually those can be done pretty easily with veterans throughout the season. So yeah, I would probably as much as it probably wouldn't be ideal, I would see what the Avani pick goes for on the open market. If you can get a stud now instead of having to wait another year, I would definitely consider doing that because again, he has the picks and he has the youth. But yeah, I think he's a couple of pieces away, but he has as much ammunition as you would possibly need to jump into that next stratosphere.
All right, Tyler, let's see if we can get you on good audio. And if we can't, we're going to keep trying until we can because, to be honest, hearing you talk is like hearing a great TED Talk from Joe Biden or someone, So let's see what's up. Tell me what you think about this team.
Well, can you hear me? Or is that about the same?
We heard you for a second. Okay, hold on. Try again.
How about now?
Yeah, I can hear that. It lagged. So let's just start talking. We'll see if we can keep going.
Better?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Keep talking like as if you're really breaking down the team. Then we'll really know if you.
All right. Well, this the other teams. This one, the key pieces on this team, whereas the other ones were veterans. Were in this one we options to really detrimenting the longevity. Darrell Henderson and Kate Links on offense. I like those upside players. Be an upgrade, but Tampa Bay wrong. But I mean, I key for an as an IDP probably needs a trade, but I like this team a lot. And and I like the.
Okay. So it's still choppy. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna type something in the chat. Let's see if we try that. But basically, yeah, true what you said. I mean, this team has upsides. I mean, it's there. I think it's really all dependent on JT, man. This team has a lot of potential. If JT makes some serious move, I mean, those top 5, top 10 teams are in trouble, man, because he has the ammunition. That one of the strongest ammunition in this league is that Jay Bonnie 2024 pick. That could be a top 3 pick, you know. So I mean, if you go on and tell someone that's rebuilding or something, you tell them, hey man, I got Travion Henderson in my pocket. You want him? You know. I mean, I don't know, Caleb Williams. I got, what's the other one? Quinn Ewer, you know. Like, dude, like that's kind of convincing, you know. You might be able to pull that off, you know. But I don't know. Is Quinn Ewer this year or next year? It's next year, right? He's next year, not this year. 2024.
Yeah, most of those guys you mentioned are 2024 guys. Williams might be 23 because I think he's an older prospect.
But
Williams is only
no.
a sophomore.
Really? Oh shit! That's why you listen to Tyler, guys.
Okay. All right. So yeah, I mean, his team definitely top 15. You know. Let's go ahead and try the Washington football team. All right, Tyler, we got you back on. Let's try the Washington football team or the football team, whatever they're called. He should change the name to the Commanders, man. Come on, bro, get on. This guy here, he's not too active, I believe, right? He's on. He makes trades, he'll counter, he'll talk, but he ain't gonna be making crazy moves. He's pretty much just a stand pat guy. If I can find the Washington football team, where are they?
Oh, no, Robbie?
Right here. Yeah, Robbie, he just makes a move that makes sense. That's what he does. He makes moves that make sense for his team. He doesn't go like crazy, and apparently my button stuck. Hold on, give me a second, guys. My button. Okay. He has Dalvin Cook. He had Dalvin Cook, Tyler Lockett, Cedric Wilson, Aaron Jones, Cordell Patterson, Cousin, Cameron Jordan, Kendrick, Philip Watts. I think it's Sin or Sign. I don't know. Shayer, Von Miller, Dalton Johnson, Breida, Gaskin, Dallas, Roger, Blackman, and he has no 2023 pick. I'll be honest, I'm not a big fan of this team. Oh, he got Dak too, huh? Oh, yeah, I mean, no, he got Cousin. I'm not a huge fan of this team due to the age. This team is basically on their last thread. I mean, basically, they got to win this year. If not, they're gonna be struggling really bad. Personally, I'd be rebuilding right now. But he has upsides to contend. It's just everything got to fall into the right piece. I mean, at one point, Cordell Patterson was just a scrap back, you know, and now he's like an RB3 maybe. You got Henry, incredible season last year, but I'm not a huge fan. What do you guys think, man? Like, what do you think this team should do? Maybe you guys can change my mind or Dante. Let's go to Tyler. Let's try to get Tyler.
Hey, I switched browsers, so maybe that helps.
Hey, there we go.
That's what it was. I just switched to Chrome instead of Safari, I guess.
Yeah.
Man, I haven't used Safari since I was in elementary making
on those big computers, like the pink ones and the blue
ones.
Oh,
I'm usually a Chrome guy, but I got a MacBook not long ago, default Safari. So, but I guess not for StreamYard.
All right. Tyler, so what do you think of this team? What do you think they should do, man?
Man, I like the last team better that's ranked lower, but this one it's an older team. The biggest thing that stands out that I think is detrimental to this team is that it has basically no picks the next 2 years. It's got a 2024 third, and that's it. Other than that, like, I mean, I would love to. You can still get something for Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones, and this might be the last year that you can really get premium assets back for both of those guys. And those two players are really what's carrying this team. Kirk Cousins is going to be solid, but I don't think Cordero Patterson is repeating last year. Tyler Lockett's also kind of on the downturn. He's going to be 30 next season.
You got no quarterback either.
Yeah, I like Aaron Jones and Dalvin Cook. Like, flip them while you can is my best advice for this team. Like, you can still get premium assets back for both of those guys, and maybe pick up some more picks so you're not just sitting in the water the next 2 years.
Yeah, man. Maybe trade Dalvin Cook to the Kenneth Walker owner for like a Kenneth Walker and a third. I'm looking at you, Tyler, but
yeah, I was going to say that's me.
But no, I mean, like, trade him to like a team that has a young running back, get a pick, get a pick in return, and just start that rebuild, man. Like, John, what do you think of this team, man?
You know what? I'm going completely opposite. Like, when you have a team that's as old and as top heavy as this one, and you don't have picks for the next 2 seasons, I mean, I did this at the end of our last season and I was able to make it work, but like, I think I kind of got a little bit lucky on the assets I was able to pull in. I think that outside of Cedric Wilson, who you hope is healthy and can be a nice wide receiver three there and for the Dolphins, I mean, like, he has a team that can compete. I mean, Dalvin Cook has RB1 overall, RB1 upside. Like, Aaron Jones has top 5 running back upside. Cordell Patterson, as long as he's actually getting utilized correctly, can be a plus for your team. There's not a ton of holes there. The IDPs are solid. Obviously, everybody is old. Like, every single player is old, with actual age or fantasy age being like a 26, 27-year-old running backs. And so, yes, he doesn't have a ton of longevity there, but I would say that if you have this type of roster, like, you're going to be in a 2-year rebuild anyway. Like, you might as well take your opportunity while it's here, maybe compete, because I think he was only a couple of points away from competing, and beating Jake and some of the other guys in the playoffs last year. So I would definitely be looking toward trying to compete this year. And then if he has major injuries or, a bunch of people kind of fall off midseason, like, okay, you definitely pivot. But I would be looking to try to rebuild in 2023, utilizing the value that he has going up for 2024 and 2025.
Yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It's just his team's a hard team to digest. This team right here is the Cleveland Browns. Now, this team is actually the lead creator is Kristen. Is it Kristen or Chris? Kristen, right?
Christian.
Right? Mm-hmm. Kristen William. You can follow him at CW William NFL on Twitter. Very smart mind. I mean, he does have some fucking hot takes. I'll tell you that much on Twitter. Sometimes I'm like, oh man, I would argue, but I don't know, man. But he's more of a relaxed owner. He's not too much on the chat. He said it before. He told me that it's just too much for him to like get into sometimes where he doesn't know where to start. And I was like, man, I feel the same way about your Twitter takes sometimes, man. But no, he's smart. I mean, he drafted well during the draft. He got Miles Sanders, DJ Moore, Jacoby Myers, Hayden Hurst, Rashad White, and Yoku, Josh Allen. Whew, I would love to have Josh Allen, but I think I'll settle for the quarterback I have. Myles Garrett, Isaiah Simmons, Savage, Cooper, Greener, Taylor, Davis, Damian Williams, Pierre Strong. Talk about a running back that's gained value. Zach Pascal, Equino St. Brown. Dude, I had no idea Equino St. Brown was on the Bears, man. I thought he was trending on Twitter. I thought he was trending on Sleeper. I'm like, why is he such a thing, man? Like, that was like 5-6 years ago. Rutger, Flower, Hargrave, Peyton Turner, Deion Jones, man. breaks my heart. I love this guy. Such a great player. He has all his picks. I know for sure he ain't taking the damn pick because he loves those picks, dude. I think the team's a contender, but if Standard becomes that top running back too, man, would help him. Hayden Hurst becoming a tight end, one for the Bengals the Bengals, yeah, that could help him. I thought he had another tight end. Oh, he has a Njoku. Obviously, he'll be starting a Njoku in the flex because he ain't got. I mean, he got other no. Maybe flip and Njoku for a wide receiver. You know, maybe try to get a package. Maybe move your pick because your wide receiver Jacoby Meyer. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not that high on Meyer. He has a good team. Very balanced. Josh Allen obviously is the stud that's gonna carry his team. He's the stallion of his team, I guess you can call him, right? But I like his team, and when you got a guy like Myles Garrett, you can sell the name, you know. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like in this league, there's a lot of players that have name recognition, but they don't equal out to the value of that name recognition due to our setting. And it's just, to me, contender, but really in reality, I can also see this team not even being close to competing on a top 10, you know, top 5 with those strong teams that we have up there. What do you guys think? Dante, we'll start with you now that we got Tyler's audio perfection, like he's going to sing the Grammy or something.
Yeah, I find it very difficult to put this in the same category as some of the more established teams that we'll be speaking about. I like Miles Sanders more than, you know, probably consensus, but it leaves a lot to be desired as the RB1. Jacoby Myers, I just was on Twitter recently, like Jacoby Myers had 56 more targets than Kendrick Bourne, and that resulted in 66 more yards and 3 fewer touchdowns. So I mean, for fantasy, I mean, like I don't really look at him as a strong or a player that inspires confidence in me if I'm starting him as a flex guy. Like, yeah, that's perfectly fine. But as your wide receiver too, and knowing that, you know, have Ricky Rashad White and David Njoku kind of you know, as your flex options, like it leaves a lot to be desired. You're putting a whole lot on the shoulders of Josh Allen, DJ Moore. I do like his IDP. I feel like there's a decent amount of youth there and longevity there. But I feel like IDP is the portion of your team that's most easily constructed with veterans. And so if he had the ability, like you said, to move a Myles Garrett, heck, even for an offensive player, I would do so and then try to get replacement level at D-line. Same thing at Darnell Savage, get replacement level at defensive back or find, you know, a linebacker that's getting a decent snap share. So I think there's definitely moves made. I just feel like this roster, kind of like you mentioned, you know, he still definitely likes being in the league. We definitely love having him. But I think, you know, the kind of long-term effort that I think not everybody, there are other people that are putting in. I think he's just in it for the ride. He's in it to hang out and be a part of it, because I think that if he was really, really trying to dive deep into it on a day-to-day basis, like I think he's definitely capable of putting together quality long-term roster, but I'm not feeling it as a legit contender.
Yeah, that's sorry. I'm laughing at a comment Jake said. It's not in the shot either. It's just a personal one. So no, I agree with you. Long time effort in this league. The effort you make will equalize to what you have for your team build. And if you put the grind in, that's for sure. Tyler, what do you think, man?
Yeah, I mean, this team is just it's very top heavy, both on offense and defense. I think on the defense in this league, it's kind of you either have some of the top players on your team and they actually contribute, or everyone else is kind of just replacement level and you can, you know, swap them out pretty easily. But like having Myles Garrett, I mean, is a, you know, worthwhile investment because he has the potential to get you 30 points in a week, or you know, he's giving you double digits every week, pretty consistently. So I think that's worthwhile investment. Isaiah Simmons, I like him a lot. I think he's going to really come around this year as well. I mean, he could get carried by the studs on this team: Myles Garrett, Isaiah Simmons, Josh Allen, DJ Moore. But I think when it comes down to a deep playoff run, I don't really see it. Again, once we get to some of these, top end teams, it's going to be very apparent that like the teams that we're talking about now just don't really have much of a shot.
It's why I threw my team in the trash last year. It's why I threw my team absolutely into the garbage.
Hey, Don, your team was a contender. Your team was top 5, man. So like you went all in, and you did a great way to rebuild it. So I'm honestly, the way, if I would have had a blueprint of what you did, I would have done it the same way. My blueprint was off the wall though. It was a little different. Yeah, I agree with you guys, man. You get what you
reap what you sow.
The work you put in is what you get, right? Like that's what it is.
Let's
go to
Barmore.
Yeah, there you go, buddy. Barmore, Atlanta Falcon. I love this guy because he's one of those guys that when you negotiate trade, it's like I don't know, man. We'll see. Man, you always got to win it, man. Okay. Cool. I don't mind when people say I just got to win the trade. That's fine with me. But what it got to make sense, right? Like if I can overpay a little bit to get my guy, cool. Like I just traded for Isaiah Pacheco, and I thought it was a little bit of overpay, but whatever. It might pay off. This guy has a stud team. Now we're looking more into the stud teams, right? We're going into the top 12 range. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Marvin Jones, Travis Kelce, Elijah Mitchell, Tyler Boyd, Matt Ryan, Aaron Donald, Olukun, or whatever. Kenny Crosby. What do you say?
Foye Oluokun. He used to play on the Falcons, so that's why I know.
Kyle Van Noy, Pete Werner, Clark, Chris Clement, Corey Clement, Tony Jones, Felton, Raymond, Parham, Crowder, Jackson. Wow, Jackson on. Oh, I thought it was the other Jackson. Never mind. Joseph. No 2023 pick. No second rounders for the next 2 years. He does have first and 24 and 25th, 25, but because we can't trade our 25. Otherwise, I would have traded it already. But yeah, I mean, this team is the perfect borderline team. What I like to call it all in. Like this team has stud in the running back position, stud at the wide receiver position, stud at the tight end position. Matt Ryan basically on his way out. He has a lot of good defensive players, great defensive players. Very good team, solid all around. He does have 1 first-round pick as his ammunition. Maybe upgrade his wide receiver position. Because you ain't gonna upgrade your quarterback with a first rounder. I mean, you will, but it's not gonna be a quarterback that you're really gonna be like, yeah, I'm so happy to have him. I mean, we know how people value quarterbacks in this league. Like they value. I mean, I can't say Bitcoin no more because that's tanking. It ain't doing so hot. But y'all know what I mean. Like it's just expensive to get a good quarterback in this league. But what do you guys think of this team? Dante, I'll start with you. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is the team that I ended up trading a ton of value to. Travis Kelce was on my team. Elijah Mitchell was on my team. Tyler Boyd was on my team. Kyle Van Noy. He moved a couple other pieces that I traded him.
You got traded team. Okay, I got it. You traded team.
My entire roster. No, but I think that he's strong in all the right places. Obviously, as you mentioned, quarterback is kind of like one of those tentpole positions, but I think Matt Ryan on that roster can be good enough for your team. I mean, he's projected for 20 right now. I could see a little bit more or less, but he's not going to really hurt you. I don't have any issues with the squad. It's a nice win now team that, like you mentioned, doesn't have a ton of picks moving forward. So they better hope that they can win it this year and then get that rebuild started with some of the young talent that they have.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Tyler?
Yeah, I like this team a lot, honestly. Like Marvin Jones, I think is a sneaky player. I think he could easily be the wide receiver 1 for Jacksonville, even though they just gave Kirk all that money. he's still a good player even at 32. Tyler Boyd, he's always undervalued. But even last year, he was getting, he got 94 targets, a wide receiver 3, and that's, a wide receiver 3 in a 32-man league as your flex players is pretty freaking good, honestly. And then on defense, he's got studs there as well. So I mean, he's going to make plenty of noise in the playoffs this year. I think he's actually a legitimate contender from looking at our last ones. The only thing is he has next to no depth, and picks is an issue. So, but I mean, he's already all in this far, so I'm not too worried about the picks. So maybe shore up some depth a little bit. That'd be my main recommendation. Is just because if one of those starters goes down, Marvin Jones, I just mentioned, he hasn't also been I guess he did play all the games. I thought he missed some time last year, but if one of these starters goes down, then I think he's kind of looking pretty rough against like the top half of this league. So I would like to grab maybe some just depth players that can really fill in some bye weeks or injuries. But other than that, I like the team a lot.
Yeah, agree with both of you guys. I mean, I'll be honest. I wanted Travis Kelce. I was trying to trade for Travis Kelce, but he ain't letting it. He wants a lot for Kelce. And if I get Kelce, man, whew.
Please
Jake,
don't trade him, Travis Kelce. Please.
I'm coming after you, Jake.
Please.
Okay, so, I mean, solid team, contending team. One thing I said early on is name recognition gets value sometimes, right? But I also think first-round pick, that title gets value too. If he had his first-round pick in 2023, he still could have gotten a lot of value and improved his team, but he traded it to you, I believe they paid it, right, Dante?
Yeah. Well, no, his 2022 first-round pick this past, because it was a pre-draft trade. But yeah, I'm not sure where his 23 pick went.
Oh, oops, sorry, Bob. I didn't mean to tag you yet. I said, did I tag the right Bob? Well, the next team is the Indianapolis Colts. Yeah, that's Bobby. Oh. Bobby, Bob, Robert, Rob. Come on, man. All right, here we go. The Indianapolis Colts. This is an interesting team, man. Like, I think he's very balanced in every aspect of it. But his running backs are shaky, for sure. If Singletary continued what he did last season in the late, I doubt it because they have James Cook now. But if he keeps going as RB2, and then let's say Pollard actually gets that workload, I feel like the beat writers are the ones clamoring for it, not like the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys go like Jerry Jones has said, it's Zeke time to eat, and of course you're gonna say that when you're overpaying him. But he got Elijah Moore, Chris Olave, Chase Claypool, Matthew Stafford, very solid starting lineup. Hassan Riddick, Orike, Bate, Winfield, Simmons, Brown, Warren, solid IDP team too. And in his bench, he got Sony Michel, Mason, Conley, First, Sanders. Oh, is this Sam Williams? Yeah, Sam Williams, McFadden, Jones, and then he has all his picks. He hasn't traded any of his picks. This team, he could make 2 solid moves, and it's a top 5 team, in my opinion. But actually, maybe a top 10, top 7 team, I guess. But I love this team. I mean, I know you traded Elijah Moore to him. He had Kenneth Walker, right, Tyler?
Yeah. So I ended up moving. I almost a little bit regret it now, but I still like the move. I needed a running back. But yeah, straight up swap Elijah Moore for Kenneth Walker like a month or 2 ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't regret that trade. You must be happy now because Rashad Penny's hurt.
Yeah. At the time, like I had like a little bit of instant, buyer's remorse there, but then it looks a lot better now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this team contender. Tyler, what do you think of this team, man? I mean, give me your feedback, man. Like.
Yeah, it seems like a very like boom or bust team. I'm kind of surprised that it's ranked this highly, but it does have some really big dynasty assets. Elijah Moore, I love Elijah Moore. Chris Olave is a good piece. I think Freiermuth is in for a big year, and it's does Devin Singletary continue what he did last year? Does Pollard finally get some, a true split in that backfield with Elliott, or does Elliott go down and he, is there to take a step forward? Same with Chase Claypool. There's so many what ifs with this team that realistically this could be a top 6-7 team.
Yeah.
Or it could be a bottom 15 team.
That's the way.
So,
you nailed it. I didn't want to say it because I'm trying to be as nice as I can to. There's only one guy I'm going to be a to in this set.
but he has all of his picks, which is good. I think I do like the team, but like I said, it's so boom or bust, and there's so many question marks. But it's also outside of Stafford, the team is really young as well. So. Flip Stafford for assets there, maybe try to get a little bit younger and a little bit riskier, but then this is a very easy, if things aren't going your way early, that you could just flip right into hey, I'm competing next year.
Dante?
Well, yeah, 100% agree. I think the biggest, like, this team parallels the team that we just viewed pretty heavily as far as like the overall balance. But like Tyler mentioned, every single player is young. Like, I was looking at the offense outside of Matthew Stafford. Tony Pollard at 25 is the oldest player on his team. You're looking at the defense. Like, you have probably 26, I think, is the oldest defensive starter. When you have that youth and you have all your picks, you have a lot of flexibility there, because if you do trade picks in order to increase your team, you're not worried about sacrificing your long-term longevity because all the players that are currently on your roster are young. It's the same build that you have. It's the same build that Jake has. You have a bunch of studs that are young, so it's like the picks don't really matter. So I like this team a lot. I think if you're going to have a team that's not going to be, a juggernaut, you want to have a team here that can embrace variance one way or another. If the team starts to fall back a little bit, you can kind of sell the non-essential pieces. And if not, like Tyler mentioned, you can jump in and compete right away. I 100% agree.
Speaking of juggernauts, Mr. Juggernaut. So let's jump into them Dallas Cowboys, huh? How about them Dallas Cowboys? This is what Tyler's saying already. This is my year, yay! This is Tyler's team. I can't tell you how many times I've looked at his team because I think about. Actually, I probably offered him like 50 trades, but he's a smart guy. He ain't gonna take my trade unless it makes sense. And I'm not saying like I'm trying to rip him off or anything. It just has to make sense for both of us. But I think it makes more sense for me than it makes sense for him. That's what was happening. But the guy has Kenneth Walker, A.J. Brown, star wide receiver Braylon Edwards. Way to go, man. I had so much shares of you. T.J. Hawkinson, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Tyler Beatty. Is it Beatty or Batty?
Mm-hmm. I like Batty better, but I think it's actually Batty.
That girl's a baddie, Tyler Murray, DeForest Buckner, Grown. Dude, that was a great move, man. I was thinking of because you traded for him, right?
No, I actually picked him. I picked him in the startup 2 years ago, like super late.
That's wild.
I liked him, man.
He was on PUP all year, so I stashed him all year.
Yeah, man. Jamal Adams. This trade was crazy. I can't remember how it was, but yeah, that was an awesome trade for you. Awesome.
Yeah, I was all about John Franklin Myers. I do like too, by the way. So I don't think it was like a complete ripoff. I think he's in for a breakout, but it was good.
And you gave a second. A second can be valuable in this league. Allen, Wilson, Asamoah, Surratt, Mariota, Newton. Dude, you should just start Mariota and have you stack all year, man. Braylon Edwards, Mariota, man, just do that. When you play me,
hey, anyone listening, I will sell the stack together as a package. If anyone, I've been trying to move Mariota ever since I got Kyler Murray.
No lie. So we have a lot of fantasy experts that are in this league from Twitter, and when I see you guys hype up players, I'm like, is this motherfucker on your team? Yeah. Okay. He's trying to make a trade. No. Ian Thomas, Jackson, McMillan, Johnson, Marquise Brown. Ooh, that hurt. But he'll be fine. You
Yeah,
have your own first. You don't trade your picks. One thing I learned from you: you don't trade your picks. You value them. You want
no.
to keep them. You only go on their pick because knowing you, and I know this because someone that I learned in the industry that if you break down players over and over, you value picks even more rather than trading them away. But if you're writing articles and busting out grind like article like videos and all that like you do, man, I knew right away. I'm like, yep, this guy's not trading his first. I tried to get his first. Yeah, you have asset. Your team is ready contender. You need to probably explore to get better on your flex and your wide receiver. Obviously, you have those first rounders, you have your second rounders. The only thing is, are you willing to sacrifice to make that move to get into the top 10? Or are you just going to patiently wait? I mean, you can patiently wait, but I think this team is ready to win. You're 2 moves away, and I think your defense is solid. And I get it. You're going to try to sell Marcus Mariota. Hopefully, you get something for him. Please don't make any moves. Just stay where you're at. Dante, let's see what you think about teams before Tyler says, "Oh well, I got a couple movies." Start pressing the set button and trade and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I think that his team would be much better if he traded me Amon-Ra St. Brown. No, just kidding. No, I like it a lot. I mean, I think we've seen a theme in these last few teams that, having a fully balanced roster top to bottom is key. And then having a roster that does have that youth is key. Now, I think the difference between yours and Bobby's is that you have AJ Brown, who it could very well be top 5 receiver. TJ Hawkinson could very well be top 5 tight end. Amon-Ra St. Brown had a very strong year, and Kyler Murray, who could be, overall player 1, or quarterback 1 if he stays healthy and does what he's supposed to do. I like the roster a lot. I agree with Gerson that at the end of the day, like that Bryan Edwards play. I mean, we do know that you have Marquise Brown, who's going to take either Beatty or Edwards out of your lineup, which makes complete sense. But that other position, when you're going up against a Jake, and Jake has Herbert, he has Justin Jefferson.
Hey, don't.
I won't give too much away.
Don't get Jake all excited. He's laying in bed right now.
I won't bury the lead. But when you're going tit for tat with those guys and you're in the second and third round of playoffs, I think that's going to be when keeping those picks is might end up hurting. So I definitely would take stock on what means more to you as far as the 24 draft or the 23 draft, and see if you can in mid-season or so. Make a move to solidify either a flex or the receiver spot, knowing that Brown's going to take the other one. And I think that you have as good a shot as anybody to make some big noise in the playoffs.
I agree, man. I do. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Marquise Brown should be in there. I didn't really think about that. Sorry, guys. I don't drink caffeine in the morning no more, so my brain doesn't wake up. It's water, and I've been drinking these drinks that are like no sugar, no caffeine. So, but anyways, Tyler, you gotta. Hey, Jerry Jones, we gotta make a move. Let's do this. That move, man. But
yeah, and I really wanted to, I've been looking to move Mariota for an upgrade at one of those flexes, but I really just haven't gotten the right offer. It's been a lot of low ball offers on him, which I understand because he's not locked up the job, but I think he's close to it, and I'm hoping to move him. And then same thing. You guys mentioned the picks. I'm at a point where I'm thinking I'm definitely not competing this year, but I think not like a top 2 or 3 competitor this year. I think I'm probably 1 year out, and I like my team for that because my IDP has pieces that can carry me, but they're also all young. I think the oldest player on my team is maybe DeForest Buckner at 28, and he's still just a stud. So I feel like I'm a year out, but maybe I do push in that 23 first or something like that. Knowing that I'm probably going to be a top 10 team maybe finishing as long as things break the right way, but maybe package like a Mariota and a 23 first and get something, that can really replace a Brian Edwards or Tyler Batty there in my flex.
Batty, baby, that's his name, Batty. We're gonna keep it like that.
Yeah.
No, man, I think I'll be honest. Like the way in my head, like this might sound a little dumb, but in my head, I always think like I put like this is why you talking to yourself or like the person that owns the team. All right, trade those picks, win now, or I'll just wait next year. I'll be even a better team, younger, and I could probably make moves. But dude, I never know with you, man. With you, like I see the Jamal Adams trade. I see a Kenneth Walker trade. I'm like, what? I didn't see that coming. Okay.
I know the Kenneth Walker one. Like I said, I was very debating that one, but I like Kenneth Walker a lot as a prospect. It looks really good now, but at the time, like a couple months ago, I love Elijah Moore too. But man, I needed a running back, and I felt like that really helped solidify my team there.
Speaking of things that we like and people we like, let's break down Chef. I think his name was supposed to be Kansas City Chief, but apparently he just went with Chef. CB70's team. I mean, this guy's the most likable person in the world, in my opinion. Not really. Me and him don't get along. We didn't get along for a while. We argued. We I don't know, man. We debated. We sent DMs. I'm like, bro, whatever. And then I'm like, whatever. But then I got to know him a little more. I'm like, all right, he's just very passive aggressive. He's very strong opinionated. He stands his ground. Okay, I'm the same way too. It's cool, man. There's some people in the fantasy industry that don't have thick skin. Is that what we call it? I mean, some of people get butt hurted and stuff, and we've seen it. I'm now in 3 leagues with him. I don't know how, but whatever. But yeah, I mean, this guy is very active. He makes trades. He talks in the chat. He got a lot of good deals. Michael Pittman was one of them. I believe he traded. Oh, he drafted him, right?
Yeah, he's a Pittman guy. He likes Pittman a lot.
No, he traded for Mike Williams. That was it. He traded for Mike Williams. He traded a third, a first, and a second. Which this first was also a late first. I mean, it's not going to be a guy that's going to be good. I know that. And it was for Mike Williams. Solid deal. He had Ezekiel Elliott, Pittman, Thielen, Ghost, Mike Williams, Cook, Burrow. And then a solid IDP team. I mean, it's not amazing, but it's solid enough. Mosley, Diggs, May, Jamin Davis, Amos, Pratt. And I know he values Jamin Davis almost already as a top 10 linebacker. So, I mean, top 10 IDP because he tried to get an IDP player for me. I'm like, bro, that's DeConde White, Allen, Wolford, Noah Brown. Noah Brown could be something, you never know. With the depth chart they have right now. Randall Cobb could be something. Austin Hooper could be something. He has a lot of could be something weapons, He traded for John Mechie. That didn't work out for him. It was John Mechie and a first, his 2024 first for Austin Lloyd and a third. But, I mean, speedy recovery to John Mechie. I love the guy at Alabama. Dude, this team is one of those teams that I look at and I'm like, man, this is going to be tough if I face him, man. He has a solid-ass team. His team. And the thing is, he's not, in the tier where, I fear him for the future. He's more in the tier of, he's going to give me a couple rounds and that's it, Stealing. I love Cook. I feel like Cook is never going to just decline. He's just going to keep performing. He's that guy, Ezekiel Elliott, but contender – but on his way looking out to be a rebuilding team, in my opinion. But he had Joe Burrow. That's all you can have. All you can ask for a rebuilding team, have a young quarterback. What do you guys think? Dante, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, first off, CB, he's a super knowledgeable guy. We spend a lot of time talking in chat, debating, same way that you have in offline as well. Like you mentioned, he definitely has a way of going about things, and sometimes people don't receive it very well. And sometimes I've talked to him offline. I'm like, bro, why are you doing that? Why are you saying that? And he's like, man, hey, he's the kind of guy who's going to call you on your bullshit. So if you're coming correct, you can have a nice back and forth. But if you're gonna say some out of pocket stuff, he's gonna call you on it. And generally, people don't like that so much. So, but I like the team. I think it's a B Armor team plus. You know, same issue with the overall age of the roster. You have guys like Adam Thielen who are going to give you another few years as a flex throw-in guy that you can put in there, but I don't know how much value he's going to have in a trade at this point. So he's probably just going to be a guy who's going to die on your roster. But I mean, you have Burrow, you have Williams, you have Pittman. So you have a couple of tentpole younger guys. Brandon Cooks, like you said, is never going to die. He's always going to be there. And then, you know, a solid group of IDPs. I think this is like the Conor McGregor of fantasy teams. It's like if he could catch you in like the first, maybe the second round, like you can get knocked out. But like if it goes 5 rounds, like I'm not really sure how it's going to be looking. You know, it's like not a ton of depth. As we mentioned, the age is an issue. Not a ton of picks. There's a couple of 2024 picks, which will be okay. So I would say similar to B Armor, I'm definitely trying to gun for it this year. Do whatever you can, and then next year, you know, in the off season or during the season, kind of just sell your picks away because you have, you know, those 24 picks, and 24 be the year that you want to rebuild. So I would be gunning for it if I were him. He has a good shot too. I think he barely lost. Wasn't it like about a point or like point something?
0.2, I believe.
Yeah. So if there was any team in the league,
he would piss, that's for sure. I remember him being pissed.
I would be.
No, I mean that's a perfect reference. I mean that's a perfect reference to him. He's the Conor McGregor of this league. Obviously, Conor McGregor kind of lost like 3 of his last 4 fights. So I mean, kind of. No, I'm just kidding. Tyler, what do you think of this team, man?
Yeah, I mean, echo kind of same things. This is his year to do it because he's got a lot of players on this team that are most likely aging out by next year. Adam Thielen already 31. Elliott, he's 27, and everyone's been saying his wheels are falling off any year now. But yeah, Brandon Cooks too, 28, but he may, like you said, stick around forever. But then you look at his IDP, like his cornerstones on IDP are all just about 30 at this point. Leonard Williams, CJ Mosley, Quandre Diggs, Marcus May, Adrian Amos, all those guys are 28, 29. It's kind of like let's push in the chips this year. Let's do it. And then, you know, you're probably going to be sitting in the water 2023 because, you know, a lot of these guys aren't going to be very tradable at that point either. So you're probably going to be sitting in the water, but I think you definitely push it in this year and really focus on 2024 coming back.
Yeah, I agree 100% there, man. It's just it's a team I'm excited to face. I want to play him. He's up there. I already named him. I'm coming after you, Jake. I'm coming after you, CB. I'm coming after you, JB Show. I'm coming after you, off the night. I'm coming after everybody in this league. I'm gonna kick all you guys' ass this year. I mean, I'm coming after all you guys. You guys whooped me last year. That's fine. But we got 5 more teams, and then there was 5, baby. Ooh, you see that? You see that? That goosebumps, baby. Let's get into the top 5 teams, man. All right, number 5. This guy makes a lot of moves. He's smart. Cincinnati Bengals, right? Where are you? NFC North, right? No, AFC North?
Yeah, off the snide.
Oh, man. This guy is one of the smarter owners in this league, and he did it in a crazy way, in my opinion. He accumulated draft picks, a ton of draft picks in the 2022 draft. I swear to God. Like, when I was drafting, and it's hard to draft with a 32-team league because I was trying to trade in. I didn't have any picks. I did have picks, but I did a lot of things with them. But he was always on the clock. I'm like, dude, like how many roster spots do you have, man? Like, how are you gonna? And he's like, I told him, dude, I'm excited to see what you're gonna do when you have to cut down your roster for the season. You basically said the same thing that everybody should be saying. Don't worry about it. It's my team. I'll figure it out. You
Yep,
know,
absolutely,
um,
absolutely.
he had Javonte Williams, Alan Lazard, Alec Pierce, Dawson Knox, Cam Akers, Chase Edmonds, Trey Lance, Jalen Phillip, Jordan Brooks. Wow, what a hit, right? What a hit. Holland, Gobert, Thibodeau, Karloftis, Quentin Williams, Howard Track, Damian Pierce, Abram. I don't give a shit about you, Smith. Watkin, Westbrook and Cunus, Fujoko, Gray, is it Toure or Tower? I don't know. Tour.
Torrey.
Bellinger, Hooker, and then he has his first round. He has Kaz's first round pick. He has a third. Yeah, he has all his 2024 picks. This guy had depth. I mean, depth. Like he deep. Like his bench is good. His IDPs are good. His starting lineup is pretty damn good. I mean, for me, Javonte Williams only going to get better in value. Alec Pierce, Lazard, all these teams. This team has upside, as I like to say it, and it's only going to get better. I love his team for what I would try to aim in a 32-team league. He went with that. He rebuilt his IDP through youth with Thibodeau, Karafis. I mean, those are great guys. And then he also has a IDP on the bench. I mean, I love this team. What do you guys think? Dante?
You know, I definitely want to be respectful. I like the team. I do like the team, and I think the depth has definitely helped him as well as keeping the picks. But I don't know how this team is ahead of teams like CB or Robbie or B Armor. Like I know that they don't have quite the same level of depth or longevity, but I when I'm looking at a top 5 team in the league, I mean, if we're talking just value, like, I definitely think that lines up. But I know fantasy pros, when they do that, they do it based on points scored over the entire season. So they're looking at what are your most optimal lineups, et cetera, et cetera. And I look at the lineup and I think Alan Lazard is strong, but, definitely major question marks. Alec Pierce is strong, but definitely major question marks. Knox top 8 tight end, but, is that something that, he's going to still have as many touchdowns, as much usage? I like the roster. I just don't think that there's enough heavy hitters on the roster to really be as competitive as some of the 7, 8, 9 teams, or even the top 4 that we haven't even seen yet. So I do like the roster. I think he has a really good head on his shoulders. I think his build has been excellent. I just think that he's a couple of years out from being a tried and true top 5 team.
Man, I want to go to the bar or the club with you when you hit on a girl. Your hair is pretty, but I don't like the color red. But it's smooth. It's like very smooth. You must use something rather. You must use like 5 conditioners, But I mean, yeah. I mean,
compliment sandwich.
Yeah, Tyler, what do you think of this team, man?
Yeah, I mean, what Dante said, there's not very many heavy hitters on this team, and that's kind of where I see the issue. Like Javonte Williams, I love Javonte. I think we've seen his floor, and that's what it was last year. And he has RB, top 5 running back potential there, but it's still potential. We haven't seen it yet. Trey Lance has, top end quarterback potential. We haven't seen it yet, and chances are, this is going to be Trey Lance's first full year starting, so there's a lot of guys that I see on this that are a year out, like Trey Lance, maybe Alec Pierce. I think we'll see it this year from Javonte, but it's still a question mark. I do like the team, and the depth is massive, and I also love the IDP team. Like Jalen Phillips, Jordan Brooks, Vaughn Holland are young studs. Kayvon Thibodeau, Karloftis are going to be young studs. Like. Mm-hmm. I love his IDP team. His offense, I think he could potentially start consolidating some of those players and kind of moving some of that depth into maybe younger and proven players. Alec Pierce plus, a first or something for Elijah Moore, Rashad Bateman, that kind of thing. I don't know how doable that is there, but I think those are kind of the moves you need to start looking at is looking for true difference makers.
Fantasy pros, what they do, they accumulate dynasty ranking. So basically, they rank off their dynasty rankings with expert consensus, and basically that's what this whole ranking is about. I mean, we're playing Dynasty. If I were to do redraft, there'd be a team way at the top, and I'm giving you guys our Dynasty analysis, on how to rebuild, how to do, So I thought Dynasty would probably be the better way. But yeah, maybe you guys are right that as a this year winning team, they're probably not the top 5, but according to the Dynasty way to build this team. And one of the things that I love about Fantasy Pro better than any other website for IDP for ranking, they actually put IDP into their ranking. So not like other team where they just get your starters and that's it, and that's it. They do your bench, they do your IDP, they put everything together. Tyler will be right back. He'll be back in a second. We'll break down this team, and then this is the top 4. This is the final 4, man. I mean, if there was March Madness, this would be it right here, right?
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm not gonna lie to you. Out of these top 4 teams, the 4th team is not one. It's one not like the one is not like the other, to me. And I love you, Cavs. You're awesome, and it was great. It's just you're so hard to trade with sometimes. Like I don't trust you, and like that's the thing. Like I'm shocked. Let's get to this team. Let me pull up this team. Where are you? Oh, it's down here, huh? Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? He's down the bottom.
Dallas. Right? He's Tampa Bay Bucks.
Oh yeah. Okay, so this team is so interesting to me because he's that team that let's go. We're ready to go. We got all of our guys. We got this. We got that. Let's go. I mean, we're gonna go into the boxing ring with just everything we have, right? He's like the Rocky Balboa. He's gonna go in there. And then there's Ivan Drago at the top, Jake, of course, But, that's how it is, man. Like he got James Conner, running back 2 at least, maybe running back 1 upside. Devontae Adams, wide receiver 1 upside. Tyreek Hill, running wide receiver 1. I know people hate on him, but wide receiver upside, 1 upside. Tyler Higbee, probably the weakest point of his roster. Diggs, Robert Wood, Tannehill. And then he has a really solid IDP team. Baker, Holcomb, Hayward, Harrison Smith. I love Harrison Smith. I'll never quit him. Wilson, Hobb. I think Hobb came on last year. Hall, Bridgewater, Melvin Gordon, Mike Davis, Benjamin, Crowder, McKenzie. I mean, Jamison Crowder to him is a top 10 wide receiver, though. I'll tell you that much. Ricky Seals-Jones, Adam Troutman. This is where I have an issue. He went all in, and he ain't got much of assets for picks. I like the team for just going all in. This is the ultimate all-in team for me. You got wide receivers like Diggs, Hill, and Adam looking close to 30 years old. I think the declining age of wide receivers now gotten from 30 to 32. Running backs are usually 27,
25, 26.
26. 26. But I mean, he has that monster 3 trio of wide receivers. In this league, wide receivers are pretty valuable. I think if I was to say the ranked positions of valuable is number 1 is quarterback. Number 2 is very close, but I say tight end. Number 3 is wide receiver and running back after that. Because running backs don't get that many points in this league. They get points, but it's not as much as the other position. What do you guys think about this team? Dante, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that this roster has a puncher's chance to beat any other roster in the league, and the ability to pivot to trying to rebuild. I think he has the most value as far as veterans are concerned, that if he wanted to trade Devontae Adams away, he would be able to get more return than any one of the other veteran teams could. So I think that he's in a really good spot. If you're going to craft a team, you want to have, young studs first. Then you want to have young, players with upside, like the Olaves, the people who got drafted this year. And if not, you want to have super valuable redraft studs like Adams, Hill, Diggs, etc. Because at that point, if you need to move them, you can do so on name value and talent, very, very easily. I do think that the depth helps him as well. I mean, Melvin Gordon being on the bench, Jamison Crowder being on the bench, McKenzie, one of those two guys will probably be a viable flex type of guy for you. Ricky Seals-Jones and Troutman, not amazing guys, but if your tight end goes down, you're not going to have a hole at the position with Adam Troutman. So, yeah, the not having any picks definitely hurts that dynasty ranking. And he's probably going to have to make some legitimate decisions next year. But as we've kind of seen of these top teams, like they either have, an all around nice build or, they're very, very, very redraft win now heavy. But, if he wants to make that pivot next year, I think his team could come out probably even looking better than it is right now as far as, long-term value. So I would hit it hard. He has any injuries or anything like that, I would definitely pivot towards the future. But he has a good shot.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Peter, Dante. One of the things is he's very stubborn about trading.
yeah.
He's very.
He likes his value. He likes his value.
Tyler.
Yeah, I mean, hit the nail on the head. His starting offensive roster, I think the youngest player on that starting roster is James Conner at 27, Devontae Adams 28 or 29, Tyreek Hill 28, Diggs 28, Higbee 29, Robert Woods 30, and then Ryan Tannehill 34. Like, man, this is your year, and then again, no picks in 23 and 24. Like, if you don't hit this year, then I think you're just kind of wading water for 2 years and donating to the pot while you just kind of wait to rebuild, because I think after this year too, if any of Adams, Hill, or Diggs kind of takes that downturn, and you're losing value at that point. But saying that, you're right, Dante. He's got a puncher's chance to beat any team in this league. So I don't see a reason to expedite that rebuild unless you start seeing some injuries, or some things just don't start falling your way. It's a competitive roster, and that's what it is. But you sacrificed your future for it a bit, so you kind of got to live with that decision when that time comes.
Yeah, I have a question for you guys. So we've looked at a lot of teams that have been top heavy, but they don't have the assets to really turn things over right away. Like, it's going to take some time, obviously lengthy rebuild. Like, this is the type of team though that, like, the assets that they had, if you were ever going to go like quick veteran turnaround rebuild, like how much would Adams go for right now, or Hill go for right now, or Diggs go for right now? Like, if he was actually willing to trade, like, do you think that he could turn his team around and just get exponentially younger and still compete? Like, I think that if he was willing to trade those players as well as Connor, like, he could get 5 comparable players with assets, and 2-for-1s, and then trade those 5 total assets for an additional one, and then be in a good spot. Like, would that be crazy to try in a league like this? It's like a $20 buy-in, 32 team league. Like, do you think that would be crazy to try?
So my thing is, I think he's already too late to trade those assets for top value. He's now going to get mediocre or medium value, because he could have traded Devontae Adams when he was on Green Bay, negotiating contract, whatever, probably for, like, say, a first round pick in 2022, and then maybe if he would have back something out, like one of those depth players that he had. And
well, he traded for Adams last year. He traded Godwin. He traded away Godwin in 24 first and Troutman for Adams and Trimble. So, like, I mean, if this were last year and you could still get that kind of value, if you're trading away like a first and Godwin, I think this is probably right after Godwin's ACL injury, I am assuming. So, like, maybe some kind of younger players that don't look as enticing as they once were, but still have that top end upside. Let's look at, Devontae Smith with AJ Brown there, and the uncertainty. If you can get a Smith and a first for Adams or Hill or Diggs, I mean, if you can do that 3 times for all 3 of them, Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't remember the team that owned Ayuk or whoever it was. Maybe trade Ayuk and a first for DeMonte. If you can get that, you know.
You can get Rondell Moore for sure.
Yeah, or maybe you can go and get a Jahan Dawson in a first. You know,
Yeah.
Man, fuck it, a Jalen Tolbert in the first. You know,
yeah. But I mean, at the same time, I think you're only in this position to compete so many times. So I think he's in the position. I mean, just roll with it. Unless, like I said, someone gets hurt, James Conner hits a pretty significant injury or something like that. Then well, I mean, he's got Benjamin to his backup there anyway. So I don't even know if that matters. But I don't know. Yeah, I think it's a competitor for sure. I think just lean into it.
One of the hardest decisions you have to make in this league is what's your direction. And once you find your direction, you have to commit to it 100%. You can't be jumping back and forth. We've seen several teams jump back and forth, and what happened to them? They've lost value on their roster even worse. Jumping to the top three, these top three teams, man, like they're all very, very smart guys. Freaking JV, just set your damn roster. Guys, don't worry. He has players that can go in here. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, which I've been pounding the table, man. I said, I think CEH's value is not good anymore. I think it's going to get hurt, but my JB is the other way around. He pounded the table for CEH. He's a good value. He's a good pick, like right now, get him everywhere. He has CeeDee Lamb. He has Kyle Pitts, which was an incredible trade. He traded Jalen Waddle for Kyle Pitts in a tight end premium league like this, 32 team. He has his tight end until he retires, basically. He has Portland Sutton. He got Dak Prescott. And then he has a pretty good IDP team. He has Shin Harris. I don't really know much about this guy. Edmund Wilson, Kwiatkowski. He can be very good, especially in that Atlanta defense. A lot of opportunities. Singleton. Then you got Jimmy G, Latavius Murray, Drake, Mark Ingram, Hilton, Wayne, Ingram, starting tight end on the bench. Kohler, Hewitt, Nick Moore, Wood, Wilson. But then this is right here. He's going to start Michael Thomas, And then Odell Beckham will probably be back, week 9, week 12 probably. Maybe help him for the playoff. Doesn't have a lot of draft capital. Well, one thing that, let's say you put Michael Thomas in there. Let's say you can get something for Ingram, and then you can get something for Jimmy G. On top of what he has, CeeDee Lamb, Sutton, Kyle Pitts, Dak Prescott, he can build that super team up there, And I don't think the depth is great on his team, but he has these assets that are like top 10, top 15, But I think he's a very competitive team. If he makes a couple moves, which he will, he's a smart guy. I like his team. What do you think, Dante?
Yeah, no, completely agree. Real quick, I want your opinion. Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Javonte Williams in fantasy this year?
You say Javonte?
Yeah.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Javonte Williams?
Yeah.
I'll take Javonte by like a billion miles.
11.94 points per game. Clyde Edwards-Helaire was 11.56. So not, I would 100%, 1000% agree with you that I would rather have Javonte, but when we're looking at how it impacts your roster, I mean, I don't think Clyde Edwards-Helaire is that bad. I think that he's a perfectly fine running back in this format. So I thought that was a interesting look because we called Javonte Williams a heavy hitter. And he's probably going to have a similar role that he had last year. So no, I think you hit all the strong points. I mean, he has a team that has some very strong tentpole players, and then the supporting cast is just as nice. I mean, I tried trading him at the beginning of the season, preseason last year for Logan Wilson, and he was like, "No, I'm pretty sure that he's gonna, ball out." And I was like, Dang it! Like I know you're smart. I heard your takes on Twitter, but I was really hoping preseason maybe I can get one in there because I think I offered a reasonable return, but yeah, he knew what he was doing. So yeah, I 100% have the faith in him to kind of round some of these things out. But yeah, no more analysis needed. His team is awesome.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. Like honestly, I tried trading with him, and he's not gonna let me even win 0.2% of the trade. He wants me to pay the guy. And I did make I made a fucking give me Kyle Pitts, here's my best offer, let's go. And he said no. But Tyler, what do you think? What do you think of this team?
Yeah, I mean, I like his team a lot. I do like Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well. I think he has a lot of upside in that offense to finally take a step forward there. His wide receivers are good. While I am a Judy supporter over Sutton, I can't deny the upside still there for Sutton. I think it's still, 50-50 shot. I'm leaning on the Judy side, but let's see what else is it, with Michael Thomas there, maybe Odell coming back. He really doesn't have very many weak spots in this lineup. Maybe Jimmy G gets traded somewhere and he gets value there, but I like the team. He's a legitimate contender. He's got studs, and his studs are all young as well. I mean, Dak Prescott is probably the oldest guy at 29. Everyone else is, within their first 3 years or so. So,
yeah, this guy's gonna make moves. So I know him. He's smart as shit. He's gonna end up selling like, I don't know. It's gonna be like what? Oh yeah, I'm gonna trade Jimmy G for like, I don't know, Chris Olave. Boom, there you go. His team. No, it wouldn't be Chris Olave because he had Michael Thomas, whatever. But you guys know what I mean. I mean, solid team. JB, he's really JB's awesome too. He's very nice. He commented on my rebuild. He told me, dude, great stuff. Like, and me and him have butted head, like disagreed, agreed, But he's a great mind. Very good follow on Twitter. Follow him. I don't know how to say his whole name. It's JB Snow or something like that. But follow him.
Okay.
All right. Now, we're getting to the top two. Now, this team right here, I mean, is trash. This was
that's not what I thought you were going to say.
Curveball. Plot twist.
Trash. This was my team, the Jacksonville Jaguars team. And last year, on the video, I said you have to be different in a 32-team league when you do a startup. You can't just follow the stray and do the same thing everybody else is doing. And everybody was wondering what I was doing. I was accumulating picks. Look, these were my draft picks right here. Oh, I don't know if right here. Can you see that? These were my draft picks. I think I ended up having 11 2023 first, 2022 first, and then a shit ton of second and third. I didn't care what I was doing. I didn't care about the second. I was just trying to accumulate picks. But I technically got what I like to call, fuck it, let's just go win. I'm like, let's do this. Let's see what I can do. And then I started making trades. A lot of trades. I think I counted almost 80 trades.
You barely even drafted any of those first round picks. Like you traded them all away.
Yeah, hold on. Let me pull it up the other way. League. Jacksonville Jaguars. They are in the right. Are they? Oh, they're not in that division. They're right here. So this is my team. I'm not gonna toot my own horn because I worked for it. I traded a lot. I made a lot of moves. I worked hard for it. Like, people were frustrated sometimes, but like, hey, you put in the work, you get the result. I got CMC, Justin Jefferson, DK Metcalf, Albert Okubanam, DeAndre Swift, Saquon Barkley, Patrick Mahomes, Nick Bosa, Shaquille Leonard, Victor, the Von Bell?
Von Bell.
Roquan Smith, it was Devin White, Fred Warner, Bobby Wagner, and then on my bench, Ty Montgomery, Joe Flacco, Corbin, Pacheco, today, and David Price, doing Michael Walker, Jalen Ramsey, and then I ain't got shit for picks. I'll tell you, I'm not gonna lie to you. I traded away all my picks. I'm not gonna break down my team. You guys, Dante, go ahead, please.
So I think people have eyes, so I don't think we need to have too much analysis, more so than, hey, like you did a good job, kind of flipping those picks into trades. It's an art, making trades, making moves, and the biggest art is having patience. Like fantasy football, like the day-to-day of fantasy football, like it's really fun to make trades. It's really fun to pick people up, watch your team win. Like to watch your team get an ass whooping every single week for an entire season is a hard thing to do. Like the patience that you exuded, bro, like kudos to you. I think obviously we have the Noah Fant versus Albert O bet going. So I think that's clearly the only major hole. I mean, I think Von Bell definitely gets a boost right now. With is it who's the other DB? Is it Simmons or is he
Lewis Stein or whatever his name is?
Yeah, they drafted somebody, but I can't remember the other free
Wasn't
safety.
John Johnson there?
No, it's not signed. That's a Minnesota Viking. I know who you're talking about. I'll remember it.
Yeah, he's basically he's holding out right now because they want the franchise tag. I mean, he doesn't want to sign his tender. Von Bell gets a little bit of a boost there, but other than that, like long term, he's not great. If you want, I can trade you Jonathan Abrams. So just let me know. But you have the best IDPs in the league. You have Patrick Mahomes, who he's getting a lot of. I guess hate, maybe not the right word, on Twitter right now, that people were thinking he's going to fall off the cliff or he's going to be, not a top 5 quarterback, which I think is kind of wild. But your team is stacked offensively, defensively. There's a little bit of depth, issue there, which I think you definitely can, clean up a little bit. But no, team is nice. You're gonna be right there in the championship game with the next guy.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate that feedback. It sucked getting my ass kicked day in, day out. Sunday out, Sunday in. I mean, it wasn't fun, dude. But Tyler, what do you think of this team?
Yeah, I mean, I think depth is maybe the only thing I would call out, but then you still have like Pacheco, TDP. Those two guys are probably potential pieces that can fill in by weeks and stuff, but. I mean, even then, most of the time you're looking at these rosters and you see at least 2 pieces on their offensive side that are an issue, like a legitimate issue. Mm-hmm. You have Albert O, and he's kind of an issue, but like still, even not even like, when we're seeing, exactly. We're seeing, guys like, Marvin Jones as like your second best receiver, like that. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have DK Metcalf as your second best receiver. Like there's a big difference there, right? Yeah. You have McCaffrey, Swift, and Barkley. All 3 of those guys have RB1 like overall potential in their ceiling there. Pretty much everyone in your starting roster has the potential to be the highest scorer at their position. And then I mentioned before, IDP, I think really doesn't matter if you're kind of like not at the top end of IDP, but you have all these top end guys like Devin White. He has potential to get you 30 points in a week. Same with Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, Roquan Smith, like Nick Bosa, even like generally outside of the top, maybe 5 or 10 at each position, you're probably getting like 8 to 10 points, and it doesn't really swing that much. But when you put it all in for the top end guys, they can actually make a difference on the roster. So I like what you did there. Instead of just kind of filling it with, almost top end guys, you actually went up and got those top end guys that I think will be difference makers.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Especially coming from 2 smart minds like you guys. I mean, I put in the work, guys. I hate when people say, "Oh, did you trade rape the whole league?" Like, No, dude. Like I put in the work. I picked up players. I traded second rounder, third rounder. I did. There was not an off season for me. It was all season. Every day,
Yeah.
day in, day out. And that was the only way you
And
can improve it.
I was gonna say, you look at the trades too for a lot of those guys, and they're not like outrageous trades at all. They're all good trades, I think, on both even sides. So it's not like you were just taking advantage of people. It's just you played it smart with all those picks at the beginning, and you had a good startup strategy, and you just tanked it away that first year, but it paid off, and you were able to smartly move those assets and create this behemoth.
Here's an example. So Christian McCaffrey, this guy got basically 2 first-round picks, right? Those 2 first-round picks are going to be at least top 5 picks in the next two drafts. So, I mean, would you trade 2 top 5 picks for Mr. McCaffrey in the normal 12-team league? Yeah. If I know that team's going to be a bottom 5 team for the next 2 years, I'm pushing the accept button so quick. But it's awesome. Let's talk about the number 1 team. He's the champ. He's the best there is in this whole league. I mean, this guy is as much as I love him as a person, I hate him as an owner. He's the guy that basically motivated me to do all this. Like, I have to build a super team because he kept doing it. And I knew that if this super team got too good, I was never going to be able to catch up unless I started making moves. And he's one of those guys that he'll pick up small players and they improve their value, and then he'll flip them for picks. And then, boom, next thing you know, you're trading that pick with another player, flip it for better asset. Boom, 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 boom. Just making moves after move. Smart moves, too. This guy doesn't make moves without having 2 moves ahead of him. Did we forget Axel team? I swear we did Axel team, didn't we?
Was this in the last one?
Axel said that we forgot to do his team. Isn't he the coach?
No, that's
No.
you know what? What's Axel's team? We can still talk about Axel's team. I thought we. Oh, maybe we didn't. Maybe we didn't talk about Axel's team.
Or was he on the first podcast?
The Bills.
I don't remember.
Oh no, I think we did skip him. We didn't go over this team. He's number 8 on the list just now.
Yeah.
Jake, we don't give a shit about your team. We're going to Axel team. No, Jake, we'll get back to your team. Sorry, Axel, man. My bad.
Axel. Hey, but I'm glad he's watching. I don't want anybody to not.
I mean, Axel was the number 1 team, not Jake. Come on. Okay, Bills. Okay, Bills. Sorry, guys. I still don't know my division. I don't care enough actually to care about division. Ooh. Derrick Henry, Debo Samuel, Hunter Renfrow, Uzoma, your mama, James Cook, Kendrick Bourne, Tom Brady, Jonathan Allen, Tranquil, Derwin James, Chanel, Wilkin, Hill, Neal, Max Jones, Abdullah, Olsen, Jennings, Rondell Moore, Harrison Bryant, Golden, Jack. Damn, this team's stacked. Yeah, on our ranking, he is number 8. But on my eyes, he looks a lot better than number 8. The team's stacked. I mean, he has a lot of weapons. He has James Cook as a young running back. His wide receiver 3 is his weakness. But this is where it gets interesting. He has Tom Brady and Mac. Mac Jones. Luckily, I remember I kept telling people, don't drop Tom Brady just because he said he's retiring. That'd be the stupidest thing to do. And people were dropping him. People weren't drafting him in a startup. I was drafting him. Like when he came back, I mean, I'm sure that he had like 40 trades after Tom Brady retired still, and I was one of them. I offered him picks and stuff. Now he has 2 quarterbacks. That's very valuable. I like his team, maybe improve tight end. Not a top 5 team for me, but it has upside to get there if he does something with Mac Jones or Tom Brady. He has all his picks, so that makes him a great build for the future. This guy's playing it right. He's playing the compete, but I still have a future, and I'm gonna get better. So, what do you guys think of the Axel team? Sorry, Axel, man, my bad, dog.
Yeah, man. No, I think whenever you're looking at Derrick Henry, Debo Samuel, carrying the mail for you, uh, Hunter Renfro, I think it's common to think Devontae Adams is here, and so he's going to get less run. Like I don't think Hunter Renfro's target share is going to be affected as much as
Oh,
you would believe. I just think that all the ancillary pieces that get all the extra leftovers, they're just not going to get those targets. Like Waller, Renfro, and Adams are all going to be heavily targeted in that offense. I think CJ Uzoma is like probably the main weak spot,
yeah.
as well as James Cook, but James Cook has some value long term. We talked about Kendrick Bourne, who I think is kind of underrated and kind of fits in as a flex piece there. So really, like you mentioned, it's like what do we do at quarterback? Do we sell Tom Brady? Because if you feel like you can compete, you probably want to keep Tom Brady on your roster. If I were him, I know he has Henry and Samuel. If I were him, I would probably move Brady to one of those competitive teams that maybe need to push over the edge. And then I would even consider moving Henry as well. I think Samuel's young enough, Renfro's young enough that if you do that, you have Mac Jones. You can probably round out your flex, and then at that point, maybe you can compete in like a year or two, just because those teams that are at the tip top, like pound for pound, like it's going to be very hard to compete with those guys. So I'm going to try to increase my depth and meet you in like a year or so when my team is better, and then maybe you have some injuries or something like that. If I was Axel, that's the mentality that I would have.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty much what I would say too. I mean, man, he's a smart guy too. So that's what I like about Axel. He ain't gonna
Right.
make moves that's gonna regress him. He's like Tyler. He kept all his picks, and he's smart. Like I always say this in this league, in a 32 team league, your top asset are your draft picks. I mean, of course, your players are your top asset, but you can make a lot of. I mean, we saw what I did with all my draft asset, and if he has those draft asset and he has like only 2 week position, he can improve it quick. Tyler, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty much on board with Dante. I think I would want to move Brady and Henry. I think he is playoff competitive for sure. He's going to make the playoffs. He's probably going to make a little run, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things he's a true top five or so competitor. But I mean, you move Tom Brady, you already have your quarterback incumbent and Mac Jones. You move Henry, and you still got James Cook that you can slot right there, and hopefully you're getting maybe draft picks or younger players that just kind of extend the lifetime of your team. Because looking at it now, say Tom Brady retires and Derrick Henry retires or falls off a cliff, those are your two difference makers right now. Debo Samuel, of course, as well, but hopefully if you can move beforehand and get some younger players that will be those difference makers, you kind of stay in that top echelon of the league. Because as we've seen, like the one team depth doesn't just do it. You have to have some difference makers that can carry your team. So I think that's my recommendation for it. It's definitely a playoff team, and will probably win a game or two, but I don't see it semi-playoff or semifinals and the finals making it there.
Yeah. Again, sorry, Axel. So now we'll jump back to the champ, poor champ. Look at how we treat him. We treat him like a dog. Like, whatever. No, I'm kidding. We love you, Jake. You know that. All right, Jake. Like I was saying, this is the team that just kind of like motivated me to just get shit done. He had Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Dallas Goddard, Deontay Johnson, Julio Jones as like his weak point, I guess, even though it's not. Justin Herbert, Shaquille Barrett, Levante, David, Justin Reed, Zayvon Collins, Jones, Long, Barton, and then his bench is not bad. He had Foreman, Mack, Snell, Ebner, Warren. He basically, and he had Drake London and Sky Moore. So basically, he's going to be starting those two guys over Julio Jones for sure. But I already know Jake, he's going to use these two guys to trade up for those top 5 wide receivers or top 5 tight end I mean, probably I wouldn't be shocked if he sent those two for Kyle Pitts or something. But he's gonna make moves. And my prediction that he's gonna trade these two guys for like a top tier wide receiver for sure. He doesn't have a lot of pick assets, but the guy's smart. He's doing what I would do: gain running back with backup positions and flip them later, probably. But what do you guys think, Dante? Go ahead.
Yeah, similarly to your team, I mean, there's not a ton of discussion that needs to be had. I think it's a little bit surprising that they have his team ahead of yours. I think at this stage you guys are neck and neck, but I think your defense
Oh,
is
I'm
a
sorry.
little.
I am number one, but me personally, I want to talk to him since he's the champ. I couldn't put him number two.
Okay. Okay, fair. I respect that. I respect that.
I should have explained that.
Okay. So yeah, I think your defense is a little bit stronger. I think that he has some guys, that are going to be able to flourish a little bit more. You can't really go wrong with the Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase combination there, and I like his tight end. Dallas Goedert should be a monster this year. So I mean, yeah, Jake is the master of the 2-for-1. Kind of, trade up for a guy and then the same thing, kind of boom, boom, tear it down, 1-for-2, kind of moving value pieces around. I mean, one of the things he's mentioned on a lot of his pieces is like, a lot of small moves become big moves. And he's a guy who's big into analytics. He's a very smart guy, knows the numbers, can do well with projecting outcomes. And I mean, I think he's the one who set this all in motion. This was a very fun league. We were making moves. We were having a good time. And then all of a sudden it was like, trade accepted. Jake got better. Trade accepted. Jake got better. And then all of us were like, hey, the arms race is starting. And then it kind of built up. And then you're over here like, okay, I got to wait till next year. And so I think that was really a catalyst for what we saw in the league and really create some parity because teams kind of started to realize like, okay, I'm not going to do anything sitting here in the middle. Let me start tanking. And then other teams are like, let me start, kind of moving on up. So now I think there's a very good balance. There's, your top tier guys, then you have your mid-level teams, and you have your teams that are all rebuilding. So kudos, Jake. I think that guys like Jake and then, the Yavanis and the Miggies of the world, the guys that are making a bunch of trades on the bottom spectrum, I think that makes the league go round. So definitely looking forward to the season.
Yeah, kudos to Jake. Tyler, give me your opinion on the team.
I mean, yeah, there's just like not a single hole really on this team, which is impressive in a 32 team. Like this looks like, same thing with yours as well, as it looks like a 12 team, redraft team or something. Like it's a contender at that. So like in a 32 team league, it's very impressive. And then also just having Drake London and Sky Moore on your bench, just sitting there with a very competitive team up at the top, and then you have arguably like 2 top 24 rookie wide receivers already. It's impressive. He's set up for the future, even though he doesn't have like a ton of picks over the next 2 years. All of his players are young and studs, and that's hard to do. Usually you're taking on risk when you're getting younger players, but I mean, he's got Jonathan Taylor, the RB1. He's got Jamar Chase, arguably the wide receiver 1, or at least at worst 2, right? Justin Herbert, a young, at least QB3 in the top 3 there. So I think the main difference between Jake's team and your team, Gerson, is the defense. I like your defense a lot better. I think you have difference makers on the defense where, as I was kind of saying, like a lot of the guys on his defense outside of, I think, Shaquille Barrett and Levante David are mainly just guys that are going to get you 8 to 10 points a week. Whereas, Gerson, your team, you have Bobby Wagner that can put up 30 on any given week and probably more than once. They're giving you like 15, 20 a week, and they're real difference makers. But I mean, still, it's a freaking good team, right? Like both of the teams are good. Like this is going to be the championship mashup unless something insane happens. Like we can all see it already, right?
Yeah, and there was a trade that just went down in the league. Yeah, I mean Jake's team is top tier for sure. It's gonna be hard to compete, especially when he has I can't believe someone has Guy Moore and Drake London on their bench. You know.
Mm-hmm.
The
I
trade,
mean, those two players are starting for
yeah,
30 out of 32 teams, right?
I mean that's incredible. And mad props to Jake. I mean, he grinds just as hard as anybody in this league. The only one person grinding harder is Javon, and you ain't gonna top that. You can't grind.
Hey, you cannot outgrind Giovanni, bro. I mean, you guys just completed a trade right now, right? Von
Yeah,
Bell, Pacheco, third
we
round
just
pick for Kyle Hamilton.
let's see right here. So the trade was Isaiah Pacheco a third, his own third actually. So that's basically like a second, almost like it's closer to yeah, well, never mind, the third. Von Bell, Pacheco for Kyle Hamilton. I've acquired Kyle Hamilton. I'm a big Kyle Hamilton guy. I have him as a top 5 IDP in this rookie draft. I know a lot of people don't like to value safety, but I think Hamilton can do a little bit of everything. He's not just gonna. I mean, he sucks at covering, that's for sure. But he'll get those interceptions. I
That's
mean,
overblown.
we saw him get beat by a undrafted wide receiver that's probably not going to make the team. But there you go, a little fun for you guys. How about that? A trade, and I everybody knows how high I'm on Pacheco. I'm gonna miss him, but we'll see what it is. But let's first off, I want to thank you guys so much. Okay, let me stop this share. Thanks Dante and Tyler for coming on. I know this ran a little longer than we expected, but to be honest, it's hard when you have talk about 32 teams like that, right? And Dante, I want to thank you for your first episode and the second episode. Tyler, the second episode.
Absolutely.
I want to say this about this league. It's one of the best leagues. It's not one of my favorite leagues besides my home leagues and stuff with my friends and whatnot. But it's one of the funnest experience I've had for Dynasty because it allowed me to open my mind and get better at it. And I feel like we all talk and communicate to a point where we don't just, we're civil. We're all, oh, look, there's another trade. Okay.
Oh, wait, is it my trade? Is it my trade?
Why are you doing this, huh, Tater?
It is my trade. Let's go.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so I got it. Can you give me 1 minute? Okay.
Let's go.
That's a big one too.
For Brandon and I,
Let's go.
In a first. That's pretty impressive. That's a good haul. I love Jameson Williams too, but I think now what are you doing, Pedro? You really want to win now? Is that what you're trying to do?
Hey, it's not necessarily having to win now. It's the fact that I've been trying to trade Williams for the last probably month and some change. And I'm realizing very quickly that unless it's people who have a long-term view of him, I'm probably not going to be able to move him. So let me get somebody that I've been low on forever on Ayuk, and I've slowly but surely increased my overall value. And that the 23 firsts are going to be valuable. So let me get somebody I think is pretty equivalent in value, and then if I need to make another trade, I think Ayuk can yield me a better result than injured Williams.
This is the reason why I said this league is awesome. I mean, we've been here in the last 2 minutes. We already had 2 trades.
Let's go.
I did not see that Jameson Williams did. Maybe when I talked about Ayuk, you knew I was. I saw your eyes go up a little bit.
I was like, don't talk about this. Don't mess this up. Don't mess this up.
But no, thank you guys for coming on. Thanks for the whole league, Christian. Thanks for putting that together. But shout out and mad prop to Jake Ashton. I believe every league has a glue. He is the glue of this league. He keeps everybody intact. He keeps everybody to have fun. He keeps it civil. It's hard to keep it civil when you have 32 men that have high testosterone. I mean, some more than others. I'm looking at you, CB.
Bro.
No, thank you. Tyler, where can we find you at? What do you have going on for you? Your work and everything. Honestly, if there's anybody worth you want to follow on Twitter, it's definitely his.
Yeah, on Twitter at Tyler_FF_. Also writing for KingFantasySports.com. Actually coming out with some sophomore previews now. So players going into their second year of the NFL, kind of looking at what they've done and then where their value's at now. Working on that. That's coming out as a series over the next couple weeks. So definitely take a look for those.
Thank you for coming on. Dante, where can we find your work at, buddy?
Yeah, so at Pater_profile on Twitter, the Pater profile, Facebook and Instagram, and then E2G Sports, Mike Anania, he definitely turned me on to them, and they're a great growing company. Going to be doing some podcast content and some written content for them coming up here, so definitely check out at E2G Sports on basically all of the platforms.
Good stuff, like my co-host would say on the Going for Two Network, Jeff. But hey, find me at Fantasy GDFS on Twitter. I will be breaking down every week DFS podcast with Jeff and Tim starting week 1. But actually, we'll be doing a podcast the week before. We haven't decided what time. But find me there. Again, thank you for coming on. Everybody, you have a great day. Have a great weekend. And damn you, Payday, stop making trades.